Chris Fischetti on that West Coast Sea-Doo, and Tom Bonacci moving over to the Bullet Marine Sea-Doo team. It's going to be a hot, hot summer.
A lot of great action in store today. Before we get to Moto number 1, let's go down to the pits and check in with Larry Rippenkroger. Larry?
Thanks, guys. Well, after the first weekend of racing, a lot of riders went back to the drawing board. A lot of changes have taken place, and I'll be here to bring you up to date a little later today.
Thank you, Larry, and already some problems for Tom Bonacci.
Bonacci's got that boat back off the line on the beach. The clock is stopped at a 2-minute hold, and it's got a problem.
And that gives us a chance to look at today's course map in San Diego. We've got another good one.
Oh, this is a fantastic course. First of all, it's a big left-hand sweep coming right around into the split side of the course. Riders have the option to take the outside split or the inside split. That brings them down to that front straightaway where they're going to grab a handful of throttle, head into the right side of the course, and that is an intricate right side. They're going to have to work their way up onto the backstretch, grab another handful of throttle, and gone.
Very technical course, and it'll really put the tuners to their test. Well, Tom Bonacci is back on the line for runabout Moto number 1, but Minoru Kanamori is not.
2-minute clock has wound its way down. Kanamori can't get any time. They're trying to get that boat back on the line. The rubber band snaps, and Sheldon jumps out in front, grabs that whole shot as they head into the first turn swing.
It's Victor Sheldon on the inside line, boat number 200, the Kawasaki, Team Kawasaki, looking very smooth. He gets the whole shot for Moto number 1 here in San Diego, and he opts for the outside track.
Dustin Farthing goes to the inside in second place as they work their way down the outside of the course, and Victor Sheldon loses his lanyard.
Victor Sheldon's boat is completely shut off. He's got it refired now, but he has lost 2 or 3 positions.
That's going to give the lead to Dustin Farthing as he heads down the front straightaway coming off the auction section.
Dustin Farthing, boat 888 on the Riva Yamaha, the rookie sensation, doing quite a job out there, and he is looking very smooth in the clean water.
Farthing, the rookie on the tour this year, has looked real good on this Riva Yamaha. We're going to take a look back at the start, and you can see Fitzgerald gets a real good jump. Victor Sheldon, not a great jump, but the horsepower of that Kawasaki team racing boat just comes on as he flies out into that number 1 spot. Then working his way down through the buoys, this is where the problem happens. The lanyard on there controls the electronics to the engine. When that lanyard comes loose, it shuts all the electricity to the engine off. It kills the motor right away. He has to reattach the lanyard, press the start button, and get that boat going again.
Victor Sheldon has now slipped all the way down to 5th position after getting the whole shot, so a very disappointing day for him already. But for Dustin Farthing, he is looking very good. Dustin
Farthing is very compact in size, as you can see right there, and I would say if he weighs 100 pounds soaking wet, that's about all he could weigh, so he's not detracting much from the horsepower of that Riva Yamaha, and right now that boat's flying.
Dustin Farthing on boat number 888. He has got the pump hooked up, and you see right there a good shot of him. Not very big in stature, but he has got the boat wide open.
Teammate coming right behind him is on boat number 18, and that's Dangerous Dan Fitzgerald, and he is working real hard to try to catch his teammate.
Speaking of dangerous, the next rider in the 3 position is Chris Fischetti, and when he's behind you, it is very dangerous. Let's go on board for the fisheye cam on the West Coast Sea-Doo. There you see how fast Chris Fischetti is going, trying to track down Dan Fitzgerald and Dustin Farthing.
This fisheye cam is great. It'll show you just how rough these conditions are, how much these riders have to control these boats.
At this point, the standings go like this. Farthing, Fitzgerald, Fischetti, Bonacci, and Sheldon back to San Diego in a moment. The West Coast Performance Nationals are brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the 1995 Budweiser Jet Sports Tour. Todd Harris, Chuck Kuntz, and Larry Rippenkroger bringing the action. Right now in pro runabout Moto number 1, it's Farthing, Fitzgerald, Fischetti, Sheldon, and Bonacci have flip-flopped, so Victor Sheldon has moved up to position number 4.
Victor Sheldon finally on the charge. Dustin Farthing, the leader on that 888 Riva Yamaha, makes that hard right hand turn, throws his hand up in the air. Mikey's got a problem. He's looking back at his teammate, grabs a handful of throttle, tries to battle for position. Can't quite figure out what's going on. They're bumping a little bit. Fitzgerald takes the spot. Farthing goes way wide and is about to lose another position.
Dustin Farthing having some kind of problem. It's probably the exhaust leak. It looks like he's trying to get the seat off.
Pulling that seat back, throwing it off of the boat. In the meantime, Fish got underneath him for another position, so Fischetti moves up to second, but the new race leader is Dangerous Dan Fitzgerald.
And for Dustin Farthing, somewhat of a blessing in disguise, having a teammate right behind him in Dan Fitzgerald, the 32-year-old out of Tahunga, California, riding for Riva Yamaha. And right now, Riva Yamaha's got to be pretty happy that Dan Fitzgerald's on their team.
Oh, most definitely. Dan Fitzgerald, a longtime campaigner in the ski division, made the switch over to the runabout class last year, and it's really starting to pay off for him. Fischetti running in second place, and he's right behind Fitzgerald.
We've seen this so many times before. Chris Fischetti, he is like a predator. He is tracking down Dan Fitzgerald. He picked off Dustin Farthing when he had the boat problems, and right now Chris Fischetti is giving Dan Fitzgerald the run of his life.
Fischetti has to be as tenacious as any pit bull you've ever seen when it comes to trying to get a rider. Right here, you can see him tracking Dan Fitzgerald around the course.
And look how Chris Fischetti takes a little bit of an inside line from Fitzgerald to get cleaner water.
Always looking for that clean water. These runabouts do not ride well in the other person's pump water, so you've got to try to find your own track until you get close enough to pounce, and that's just what Fischetti's doing.
And when you're pouncing in speeds in excess of 60 miles an hour, a premium is put on safety. One thing that's very important, personal flotation devices. Let's go down to Larry Rippercoger with more on that.
Thanks, guys. Well, you're absolutely right. There is a need for increased protection of the riders at the speeds they're going nowadays. And one of the ways that the vest manufacturers have approached that is they've increased the number of straps on the PFDs, of personal flotation devices. You can see this vest here now has 4 straps instead of 3. Another approach is to go to a side entry system with 2 large thick straps. Also, that increases the speed rating of the PFDs. I can personally attest there's a lot of times where you're glad that you've got one on. Whether you're out on the race course or just out play riding, unexpected things can happen. You know, not only is it the law, it's common sense. You should always have one of these on.
And I can totally agree with that, Larry. I'm a personal watercraft rider myself, and many, many times I've got pitched off that high side and been real thankful I had a PFD on.
We are down to the last lap. Pro runabout race number 1. Right now it is Dan Fitzgerald. He is being chased by Chris Fischetti, Victor Sheldon, and Bill Pointer Jr. And Bill Pointer Jr. is on the gas.
Billy Pointer is flying around the outside of Victor Sheldon, moves himself into 3rd place, and he's coming hard after the finish.
Bill Pointer Jr., a slalom specialist, but he's doing the job here today.
He does. His forte is in slalom, but this new ride he's got this year with that MSD team has really got him cooking. That Sea-Doo is working awesome.
Well, speaking of cooking, it is Dan Fitzgerald, boat number 18, the winner of Pro Runabout Moto number 1. Chris Fischetti put on a great charge. He will take 2nd place in Moto number 1. But for Dan Fitzgerald, a great day for him. He picks up the win for Team Riva Yamaha. He is followed by Fischetti, Pointer Jr., Sheldon, and Bo Dupriest. When we come back to San Diego, California, we'll have more runabout racing, plus the freestylists. Stay with us. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the 1995 Budweiser Jet Sports Tour. We are in beautiful Mission Bay, California for the 2nd stop of the tour. And so far we have had great weather, which has made for great race conditions. The man that kept the action going moments ago was Dan Fitzgerald, taking the checkered flag for the Moto number 1 win. Right behind him it was Fischetti and Pointer. Let's check in with Larry Rippenkroger, who's in the pit area with our winner. Larry.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Dan Fitzgerald. Years past, you've had trouble with sponsors and everything. This year, you've got a good ride. It looks like it made a little difference.
Yeah, I've got a great ride with Riva Yamaha. They build incredible equipment. We've had very good luck with the boats. The boat is just running incredible.
Well, that's the first moto. One more to go. What's the strategy at this point? I mean, anything can happen. You've had your ups and downs, but things are looking good so far.
Well, the way this starting grid is, the inside position is very critical in this starting line because of the positioning of the first turn. I feel that being able to start on the pole puts you in a very good position and incredibly advantageous position going into that first turn, especially on this course.
Well, congratulations on a first moto win. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Larry, and congratulations to Dan. While the riders are preparing for the next race, let's take a look back and see what happened in the freestyle competition earlier today.
Well, each of our competitors is given a 2-minute chance to show their stuff, and this week, each minute was packed with thrilling routines.
Kenneth Wood, after a strong showing, would end up in 5th place with a score of 43.1.
Well, for Mark Sickerling, it would be a disappointing 4th place finish, but the big question is where would this leave him in the overall standings?
Not holding back, Rick Roy let it all fly, and his incredible barrel rolls were definitely crowd pleasers. The judges like it enough to award Rick with 3rd place.
Last year's national champion Lloyd Burlew showed off a few of his own crowd favorites. Ultimately, it would help him squeeze past Roy by a 1/10 of a point. The crowd was not let down with his 2nd place showing.
But it was the 2-time national and world champion that upped the level of intensity to secure his 1st win on this year's tour. Jeff Kent showed the crowd and judges that he had cleaned the rust out of his routine, and this solid routine earned him a score of 49.1. Jeff came in this week knowing that his competition had worked out most of their kinks and were ready for this week's stop.
Oh man, I'll tell you, these guys are so good this year. The competition's tough. Man, anybody could win at any time, you know, and you just go out and do your thing and hope you win.
Well, Jeff did his thing, and it was good enough to take home the win this week in San Diego.
Congratulations to Jeff and all the competitors in this week's freestyle competition. Here are the results of the overall standings after this week's scores were added up. Mark Sickerling retains his lead only by 1 point, and we've got a 3-way tie for 2nd place. We are now set for pro runabout moto number 2, and this one should be very interesting. Dan Fitzgerald has that pole position that he really wanted.
This one could be a real barn burner. The Kawasaki team wants to get back in this thing after having a disappointing first moto, the rubber band trip. And there you can see Fitzgerald just squeezes by Fischetti from the fisheye cam.
But on the outside, it is Victor Sheldon, boat number 200 on the Kawasaki, just screaming out to the hole shot.
Victor Sheldon worked his way down into the split section of the course. It's going to be real interesting to see how they come out, but they've definitely got that boat working. This is where the problem hit in moto number 1. He popped that lanyard, and that cost him a lot of valuable time. Coming down through the split, Wild Bill Pointer right on his tail, onto the front straightaway, heads across the front, and then Superman's back.
Victor Sheldon, boat number 200, celebrating the hole shot with the Superman pose. He can't celebrate too much longer because he's got Bill Pointer and Tom Bonacci right behind him.
And Bonacci made a fantastic move and goes into 2nd place.
So it's Victor Sheldon, Tom Bonacci, and Bill Pointer rounding out the top 3. Let's go back to that start, and Victor Sheldon just screamed from the outside.
Again, just like in moto number 1, you see Victor Sheldon coming right out of the pack. That Team Kawasaki racing boat working excellent as he heads into the first turn, while Bill Pointer drops right in behind him. Bonacci comes up along the side, and then down the front straightaway, it's Superman.
So as Victor Sheldon settles back onto his seat in 1st place, we go back in 2nd place. Tom Bonacci, boat number 7, the Bullet Marine Sea-Doo out of Brea, California, in 2nd place. But for Victor Sheldon and Team Kawasaki, you might as well call them Team Hole Shot. They have gotten every hole shot this season. Let's check in with Larry Rippenkroger in the pits.
Well, in racing, the starts are always critical, and we have seen Minoru Kanamori and Victor Sheldon pull off some incredible hole shots. Here's one of the reasons why. Up here on the handlebars, it looks like a clutch lever, but the secret's down here in the pump. What that does, when you pull the lever, the nozzle at the rear of the pump angles down. That forces the thrust down, keeps the nose of the boat down so they can give it full throttle off the starting line. They don't have to feather the throttle. There's no porpoising at all. Once they get out in front, they let up on that lever and they're gone.
Thank you, Larry Rippenkroger, the Geraldo Rivera of Jet Sports Racing. And right now, Tom Bonacci's trying to find out just exactly how he's going to catch Victor Sheldon. And in front of Chris Fischetti, it goes like this. Dupree, Farthing, Pointer, Bonacci, and Sheldon. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to San Diego, California, and ESPN's coverage of the 1995 Budweiser Jet Sports Tour, the West Coast Performance Nationals, co-sponsored by Nissan 4x4 Trucks. Todd Harris along with Chuck Kuntz and Larry Rippenkroger. Right now it's Victor Sheldon, Tom Bonacci, Bill Pointer Jr., Dustin Farthing, and Bo Dupriest in pro runabout moto number 2. And for Victor Sheldon, he's probably just hoping that lanyard stays plugged in.
He's got to be hoping a whole lot of things stay plugged in, and Pointer makes another mistake. Second mistake he's made in the race today. There he missed a buoy, had to circle back and pick it up, and he gave away more spots.
So Bill Pointer gives up 2 more positions. He moves down to 5th position. And right now, Tom Bonacci is on a hard charge. He is in second place, boat number 7 out of Brea, California.
And that mistake by Bill Pointer is going to be real costly in his chance to try to claim the overall here today. That opens the door for the Flying Fish, Chris Fischetti.
Well, right now it is Victor Sheldon, boat number 200, out in front. And Victor looks like he is slowing a bit. Chris Fischetti is now in 6th position, so he definitely needs to move up to at least 5th place.
If he can get around Bill Pointer, he can secure that first place overall today. The way the system works, they run 2 motos. You take the 2 finishes, you average them together to determine who gets the overall finish.
And Victor Sheldon definitely having problems. He slows, and Tom Bonacci goes right past him.
Bonacci coming into that lead is now going to put the pressure on. This could be Bonacci's race to win or Bonacci's overall to win, depending on what Chris Fischetti can do back in the pack on the back of Bill Pointer.
Tom Bonacci on the Bullet Marine Sea-Doo, and here you see Dustin Farthing on the outside giving Victor Sheldon a run.
Dustin Farthing coming up, taking second place away, and Victor Sheldon, there's definitely something wrong with that boat. He's now backing up on the race course as the other riders are picking him off.
So let's quickly run it down. It's Tom Bonacci in first, followed by Dustin Farthing, Victor Sheldon, the Wounded Prey, and lurking behind him, he's got Bo Dupriest, Bill Pointer Jr., and of course, Chris Fischetti.
Fischetti is working hard trying to get that spot. He may already have an idea of what he needs. Bad Bo Dupriest right now, dogging Victor Sheldon trying to get another spot.
And Victor Sheldon is just dropping off the pace. Bo Dupriest will just skate right past him. And for Victor Sheldon, a very disappointing day.
Trying to get that seat off, so it must be an exhaust problem, trying to let that engine breathe. Bonacci, the bomber, the Bullet Marine Sea-Doo, cranks down that front straightaway. The young man, Dustin Farthing, coming on fast in second place as they come through the split and onto the front straight.
And moving into third position, there he is, the defending national champion, Bo Dupriest. And Bo is in a class with some of the best personal watercraft racers in the world of all time. Now, it wasn't too long ago that Bo was being called a different name, and we talked to him earlier about that.
Now we're a respected class. I don't think anyone calls me an old man houseboat rider anymore. If they do, I'll tell them to go race Mac and see what they can do against him. I mean, I've got the best in the business in my class. If I beat him, they may call me the best someday. That's what we're looking for.
And the best that can be would be Bo Dupriest. The Mac he alluded to is Chris McCluggage, last year's 2-class winner in sport and ski. And this year, he's a rookie in the runabouts, Todd.
Well, right now, there's no rookie in Tom Bonacci. He is charging like a veteran. He has got this race in hand right now. If he can keep the boat together, he's going to get the checkered flag.
Heading onto that backstretch, the bomber Tom Bonacci, the Bullet Marine Sea-Doo, just working flawlessly. And let's pick up a differential between first and second place. We're going to start the clock, stop the clock. It's only a 1.3-second differential between first and second place.
And doing a little math here, if Tom Bonacci holds on to win, Chris Fischetti is going to have to pass Bill Pointer Jr. and get 4th place if he wants any chance at getting the overall today.
That's right, Todd. And it's going to be a long, hard run to try to get Wild Bill Pointer. Pointer not easy to pass on the race course. Down the front straightaway, the final lap is underway. We've got Bonacci in front, Farthing running in second place, Bo Dupriest running third, and the battle is the 4th place spot.
So Tom Bonacci has about a second and a half to play with to keep Dustin Farthing off his back. We'll see if he can do it. And right there, Dustin Farthing missed the buoy. He's got to go back and circle it. Doesn't lose a place, but more importantly, Chuck, he loses about a second on Tom Bonacci.
And that's critical. Bonacci is gone. A rookie mistake on the buoy. Cut it too quick. The boat 360'd on him. He's able to keep his spot, but the wind's got away.
Tom Bonacci with a little more breathing room, and here it is, the big fight. Chris Fischetti sneaking up on Bill Pointer Jr., and let's see what happens here.
They're heading into the split side of the course, and Pointer goes to the outside, while Fischetti goes to the inside.
Now this one is going to play out right at the finish line because the inside track has been faster all day. Tom Bonacci wins the moto, but the big battle is back in the pack for the overall for the day, and here they come.
Fischetti comes off the turn, makes the boat real wide, slams the door shut, and beats Bill Pointer, the checkered flag, and that's going to get Chris Fischetti the overall win for the day.
The win in moto number 2 goes to Tom Bonacci, followed by Dustin Farthing, Bo Dupriest, Chris Fischetti, and Bill Pointer Jr. When we come back, we will talk to our winners. Stay with us. The 1995 Budweiser Jet Sports Tour is brought to you by West Coast Performance Products, better by design. Welcome back to San Diego, California. Stop number 2 of the Budweiser Jet Sports Tour. Moments ago, it was Tom Bonacci winning moto number 2, and Larry Rippenkroger caught up with him.
Well, Tom, last year was a frustrating year, a year full of injuries, but you've showed them how resilient you are.
Yeah, I came back. I'm healthy. My Bullet Sea-Doos are running really good, and I think we're going to be a contender all year long.
Congratulations to Tom Bonacci, winner of moto number 2. The overall win goes to the Flying Fish, Chris Fischetti. And by virtue of his great win this week, he moves to the top of the standings, followed by Canamore and Bonacci. Let's go down to Larry Rippenkroger, who's got our overall winner. Larry?
Thanks, guys. Here with Chris Fischetti and crew enjoying the spoils of victory. Let's talk about that last-minute pass at the end. That's what gave you the overall.
Yeah, I chased Billy Pointer all the way around the track. It came down to the finish line, and he went wide on the split, and I went on the inside, and I kind of stuffed his line, and when it took time to get there, I was there first, and the moto system gave me enough points to win the overall, and that's all that matters.
Now, was there any communication going on between you and the pits? Did you have any idea that was going to give you the overall? Or were you just being Chris Fischetti, aggressive right to the very end?
Yeah, I rode with everything I had. I knew Billy was on the line next to me, so I had to get him to move up the ladder for the victory, and the way it worked out puts me here now, number 1, so I'm stoked.
Well, as I've said before, going fast will win races, but being consistent will win overalls. Today, the man on the podium, Chris Fischetti. Back to you.
Thank you, Larry. In the Pro-Am Women's Ski Division, Tara Lejo-Krisman swept both motos to take the overall in San Diego. Tara was the 94 national and world champion, and with back-to-back event wins in 95, her competition is in trouble.
Chris McCluggage won moto number 1 in the men's ski class. Moto number 2, however, went to Rob Flores. A strong weekend of racing gave Rob the overall and a chance to get back in the national title hunt. The pro sport class has seen a new face in the winner's circle, and it belongs to Chris Fischetti. He's 4 for 4 in moto wins after 2 stops, and his West Coast Sea-Doo is now the boat to beat.
Derek Punchard's second and first place moto finishes in the pro runabout 1200 class gave him the overall on Mission Bay. The class is ultra tight and one to watch. That concludes stop number 2 from San Diego, California. For Larry Rippenkroger, Chuck Kuntz, I'm Todd Harris. We'll see you next time right here on ESPN.